This is about competitive government. I want competitive governments where there will be about a dozen different competitive governments that you get to pick from. Every citizen throughout the full geographic area, state or federal or local, throughout the full geographic area, you have 12 governments, and each citizen picks which one they want to go with. Each business owner picks which one they want to be governed by. And then they are governed only by their government. Now, the biggest pushback I get on this is that certain functions need to be done as one nation. The single commander in chief, let's say, diplomats. Yes, that is built into the system. Or for the full state. So certain things need to be done as a full state. Or we need to have the same violent crime laws. We can't have a violent crime law for some people and not for other people. That needs to be all uniform. So that is addressed. So while we want competitive government, 10 to 20% of what we do will be monopolized across everyone. So it is built into the system. All competitive governments send representatives, so it's very important. All competitive governments send representatives as a percentage of their citizens that are in their competitive government. So if a competitive government has 7%, another competitive government has 14%, well, the 14% has double the representative control in the sector board. So they have 14% the power when they send up a representative. The other one has 7% power when they send up their representative to that monopolized sector board. But that sector board cannot just do anything. They are they have limited authority. First of all, it takes 70% to get that authority. Plus, it has to be a negative externality and proven to a court that's a negative externality. The externality had to be addressed by rating floors, which is something that I haven't told you on this video yet. But we have a whole other system called a rating system that can try to limit how much power goes up to the monopolized system by putting out rating floors. Rating floors are to say you can't go below this level of ratings when you're creating negative externalities. Some negative externalities has to occur because we want freedom and liberty. You can't have freedom and liberty unless we have some negative externalities. So, but where is that limit? Where's that limit at? So the rating system will develop a system for that. So let's keep on going. You can look at all the different areas of government. I split into 30 sectors, and each one of these will have a different area of government control, monopolized government control. So the sector board, monopolized control. The big ones would be the diplomats. We had to have one top diplomat, one president dealing with being the top diplomat. Different guy, but top commander in chief. So that's important. The military corporations, no, there will be competitive government, but they can only be controlled by the commander in chief. And that can only be, the commander in chief can only do something with the military if the diplomats declare war. Unless it's on American soil, then they get to protect our nation. The military capability system is paying for the military, so that's a system that has to be, to a large degree, monopolized. And then the military authorization agency, which is authorizing people with military power, and that needs to be 70%. So that has to be at the monopolized system. Another couple that needs to be done, we have to have consistent violent law, so that would be monopolized. But the prosecutors are different. You could have your own prosecutor, your prosecutor system. So competitive governments, at least 5% of citizens can come together, and they get to have their own prosecutor to deal with the violent crime or any crime, to be honest with you. But the violent crimes have to be consistent. The other crimes don't have to be. So that's a different story. You could get to make contracts and do deals with, and civil laws dealing with a lot of other laws by competitive government. Different competitive governments will have different other civil laws, but the violent ones have to be consistent. Law enforcement authorization agency, that will have to be monopolized. So that's highly important because you're authorizing people to have to have police powers. Judges, prison guards, police officers, sheriffs, all that. Now, the law enforcement, not so much. Not so much monopolized. There will be some hierarchy in there, so they will have some go up there for proper hierarchy. But no, it's not primarily a monopoly on that one. There's some, but not primarily not. The court system, no, not either. But there will be strong regulations on civil liberties, and so there will be private courts, yes, so a full system to make sure civil liberties are taken care of and is properly done. Go look at that reform and look at that. Prison and corrections, no, these are private prisons, very, very regulated on. You can only do something that is that somebody's went through the proper court system with. So there will be a lot of requirements, so it cannot be abused. So read through that, make sure you realize that will not, I have a system so it cannot be abused. So a complete rating system will have, will lower how much goes up to the sector board level, because the rating system will show the citizens just what standards everybody has and what they're doing from about a dozen different perspectives. So a wide variety of perspectives. A lot of people looking at it in different ways. So the competitive rating system will prevent abuse and corruption. Sometimes they'll have their own courts dealing with abuse and corruption. Limiting private sector harm without heavier regulations. That's a big part of without heavier regulations that's monopolized. Some people will want to go to a competitive government that has stronger regulations. So there's a lot of precedent for that. People go to different trade organizations, let's say the BBB or the Realtor, or there's a lot of trade organizations that say we're going to regulate heavier, so you know that these people are doing the right type of things, so you'll give them the business. So that's what I'm talking about. Forcing government experts to debate other experts from every perspective is going to be huge in the rating system, and that's going to make sure people understand what's going on, and they cannot hide behind bogus ratings, or they're going to have to justify what they're saying. They don't have to necessarily agree with each other, but they have to try to justify what they're saying, show data and the like. Okay, there's a lot more to be seen at Haley2024.org. Until the next video.